China, and his topic is Harmonious Unity, Theory of Global Peace. Please, Professor Liwen.
希腊呢是哲学的故乡，它也是人类智慧的源泉。
is a motherland of Greek philosophy, the source of wisdom to the mankind, and I am certain that the present temporary difficulties that Greece is encountering by the wisdom of its people would be overcome. We all very well know that the dangers and the crisis that humanity is passing through now can be analyzed, can be understood but the task of dialogue is to use the wisdom of nations to look for the causes of conflicts in crisis, in order to look for the ways of overcoming these reasons and causes. Therefore, if we don't have specific goal to which we want to move, there is no meaning in dialogue. It would be an empty sound. We have to understand what is the basic, the primary crisis that humanity is facing today. First of these problems is the conflict between man and the society. What we see today, the pollution of environment, all other negative events, epidemics, is natural calamities, are the result of what human has done. We are reaping the fruit of this activity. Second element, the conflict of man and society. First conflict was conflict of man and nature. We see in conflict of man and society the difference of rich and poor, which lead to terrorism. These are destructive forces of sociology. Precisely because of these factors, our society is unstable. We have to understand this second conflict. Third conflict is the conflict between people and people. This is a moral, ethical conflict in relations between people. Moral, ethical conflicts of today, they are making harm to mutual relations between humans. Fourth conflict is conflict between human and his spirit. We all know that our spirit is tormented. It is not calm. It is in the darkness. It is in contradictions. We have to bring it to ground, to parity, so that it should become calm and so that our spirit could clearly see the real world around us. Finally, fifth element is the conflict between cultures and between civilizations, because different values have different significance in different cultures. And we have to understand that different historical periods, different states, the values that were professed by these or those people were changing, that we have to understand these differences and we can cooperate in spite of differences by finding common fields of interaction. I have listed 5 conflicts areas. And then comes the question, how can we cope with these dangers? I think that it is necessary for us to find a way to overcome, to dampen these crises and conflicts. If we see the roots of their conflicts, we can respond to them. If we see the common understanding of these roots, we now have the platform for dialogue. We can find many solutions, and many answers are based on what is taken from traditional Chinese culture. The wisdom left to us by our ancestors, the millennia of our cultural development that accumulate wisdom, which is a result of forming and crystallizing the Chinese civilization, which included the best of best from Chinese nation. The principle I advance here is the principle of harmonious unison or harmonious cooperation. I think that this principle that I am listing now on this slide, we understand the Book of Changes, the canon of transition written several thousand years ago by classical Chinese authors. This book tells us that interaction of the sky and the earth, heaven and land, gives a difference, a distinction to 10,000 things. Interaction of man and woman gives birth to a new life. The correlation of different opposites is the factor that brings to the birth of new phenomena, new life, new ideas. Therefore, we have to use this contradiction. We have to preserve our own life and respect the life of the other, respect the views of the other, and through cooperation, through unison, we can get the new life back to force. Only in this way we can get rid of all those multiple challenges that we are facing. Therefore, different cultures, different religions could be used and combined throughout our Chinese history and bring fruit to our development. Chinese culture, Chinese civilization, through this merger of these values, allowed us to develop such concept as the concept of unison of 100 rivers flow into one river. The second moment is that what is based on the principle of peaceful interaction while preserving the contradictions, what I call harmonious coexistence. We must respect each other. What is the world in Chinese hieroglyphics? The notion of hieroglyph peace is in combining two different actors, he and he. He and he makes one piece. If one he is superior to another he, no peace would be attained. There is no such division that I'm right and you're wrong, I'm good and you're bad. No, we should view ourselves as equal brothers deserving respect. Therefore, it is Chinese civilizational development that showed the coexistence of different religions. I come to the third element of Chinese wisdom. This element is about interaction of people with each other. This interaction of humans as objects interact with each other, we have to keep the balance of equality. If I am standing on my feet, you should have the possibility to raise to your feet. I call this the principle of harmonious standing up, or harmonious self-growth. How can this principle be reflected in international politics? Each government, each state should select their way of development, and on the basis of own identity, they have to find ways for making choices, and this choice should be independent, conducive to development, using the requisite tools that would correspond to our interests. It is impossible to use one universal principle as a universal yardstick, imposing it to all other states, limiting their possibilities for development. We have to respect the choice of different independent countries, and that is what I call the principle of harmonious standing up. I come to the fourth principle of philosophy that was formed by Confucius. Confucius said that you can succeed by helping others to succeed. I call this principle and apply it and describe it as principle of harmonious development when you are developing and you are giving to grow and develop your partners, your brethren. These 10,000 things that exist in the world, they should help each other to develop, but not to oppress the development of each other. And they have to go hand in hand with each other, not back to back of each other. Therefore, this direction should be common. We should lead to the common goal, not to opposite goals. Therefore, we know that Confucius say, don't do to other what you don't want to be done to you. Therefore, don't impose others what you wouldn't be willing to be imposed. This is a clear principle. You call it the golden principle. I want to be happy, and I want you to be happy. I can't be happy when you are unhappy. And what is immanent to the Chinese tradition is the wisdom of letting live and living in search for happiness. It seems to me that it might be very useful to look at these principles in finding the exit from the crisis situation of the world today. And my final principle is the principle of harmonious love, harmonious affection. There is another Chinese philosopher, Mo He, and the Mo He philosopher was saying that we have to love others as we love ourselves. In the same way as we love our own country, we must love other countries. We all know that in all religions there is the notion of love. But what is love? Love is the root from which life grows. Without life, there would be no new life. Therefore, love is an essential prime mover of the world movement. It is the foundation. Without this foundation, without love to everyone, we will not know what this world turn into. It could turn into hell. The mutual love is conducive to survival and to development. It can extend the life of our societies. From this viewpoint, each religion postulates the need for love, the needs to the brethren, the love in Islam. They speak about the growing grass, love to the growing grass and to all the brethren. And the same goes from Christianity and all other religions. It's a common wisdom for all cultures and all civilizations. That is why the question is, what is the reason that we struggle, that we kill each other, that we fight? If we know about love, we shouldn't fight. That means we forget about love. But if we remember that love is the core of the life, then we wouldn't fight. There is such a notion, an ideal world, a world of my dream, the Eden, the seventh sky. In all religions, there is a notion of ideal place that we can get into after the life is over. It is the place where our spirit finally reclines. Each religion has a concept of a certain distant future, of the world which is ideal. Names can differ, but the ideal is the same. In Buddhism, this is the notion of Western Pure Land. It could be nirvana in Indian philosophy. These are the common principles everybody is guiding in this ideal world. They don't kill anybody there. They don't steal there. They don't lie there. They don't fornicate there. These are the basic principles for all the religions who profess transcendence. Therefore, if we come from these universal principles, we will understand that there are no reasons for conflicts. Conflicts arise from stupidity, from myopic vision. And I'm certain that the future of the world, harmonious cooperation. I talk about the notion, if the sky and the heaven, if the land and the earth interacts, the life would rejoice. Humans would rejoice. Thank you.